Hi, I'm Nikki. Welcome to the Reset Journey, where I am on a journey to renew my mind with Jesus being the anchor of it all. I want to say that this week has been, oh wow, filled with so many things going on. I don't know if I pushed myself too much in some areas, but I ended up having like a bit of a setback. But then something amazing happened where I got the healing that I have been waiting for about 5 years. So I want to share that with you. On the other videos, I had explained how somebody had said a trigger word that brought back like PTSD memories, and I was like reliving these moments, waking up from dreams with panic attacks. I would get flashes of some traumatic things I had been through and like have panic attacks. I started having adrenal dumps. If you don't know what it's like, it's kind of like a panic attack, but to me worse, because your adrenaline is just going crazy. But my heart rate wasn't crazy like a panic attack, but my blood pressure would be high. I did end up having to call an ambulance to help me, and they did an EKG because my blood pressure was extremely high. But one of the paramedics had recognized some of the things going on because she suffered from extreme anxiety, and she taught me some techniques, and my blood pressure did come down within that first hour. And she said, "You just had a major adrenal dump." She's like, "I'm not a doctor," but I had already told her I didn't want to go to the hospital. I think I just freaked out and called for help because of some symptoms from the high blood pressure kind of freaked me out. And I willingly did not want to go, so she just wanted to stay with me to make sure I was going to be okay before she left, and taught me those techniques and told me what it could have been. But of course, she told me to follow up with my doctor. But she told me to ask my doctor about adrenal dumps. So I've had those before, so I was like, okay, I know what it is. And I have had those before, and I've had to work through them. And anyways, I was bummed out because I started having them daily, which has happened to me in the past. And then Wednesday comes around, and I was told by some people that I shouldn't be trying to heal my past. I just need to let go and move forward, which I feel like I did do for 20 years, and it didn't bother me. But like I said, a trigger word was spoken, and it all came back. Like everything came to the surface, and it was very overwhelming, and it just really messed with my stress and anxiety. And I was having insomnia again. I was only sleeping 2 to 3 hours. So I was like, I need to deal with it. I really feel like I need to make peace, forgive who I need to forgive myself, do whatever it is I need to do, and put it behind me. And I ended up talking to a friend on Wednesday, and that's whenever on the previous video where I explained how she told me to focus in on the God in that time in my life, because I'm focusing more on the issues and the problem more than what God did for me. And I did start to see God. I started to see God all over. He was there, but I just was not focused on it. I was more traumatized by the things done to me or what I experienced, that I just couldn't appreciate him the way I should have. Instead of thinking I had no one and I was alone and I can't trust God because these things happened to me, I failed to see how I was actually saved through each thing, and how each thing I went through actually helped me be the person I am today, and made me strong and gave me wisdom to catch what I went through with other people, to catch it in people in my future so I wouldn't relive it again. I ended up having a great conversation with God, bringing up every memory that traumatized me. And I said, okay, God, me and you right now, we're going to have a session. And I brought up all the scary moments. And I said, okay, where were you in this moment? And I was like, oh, you sent somebody that day. Or you ended up resolving it in this way. Or you protected me from getting harmed by somebody else, or, something even worse happening to me. Because in some situations it could have been worse. And in one situation, it was just me looking at a beautiful tree. Nobody came in that time, but I got a break. And I remember staring at a tree with squirrels in it and feeling so much peace that I forgot about the pain that I had. And that was one of my most special moments. And I thanked him for that tree. And I thanked him for Jesus dying and being nailed to a tree. I don't know. I felt the peace for some reason just because it was a tree. But I thanked God for that moment too. I started to forgive people and surrendering them to God. I said, Lord, I forgive. And I'd say the name. And then I would bless them and say, Lord, help them. If they were already passed on, okay, fine. If they were still alive, then I'd say, Lord, I pray that they're not like that anymore, and that their spouse or that their kids or whoever it was is not experiencing the damage they did to me. I pray that they broke that. But that's your business. I just pray that they get help if they haven't. And I said, I surrender them to you. And I really felt like I did. So today's Friday. My memories have been better. And I have not had any adrenal dumps since then. If I do have some, I feel like I have the tools to calm it down now, with a paramedic helping me the way she did. I have started eating better. I've been eating healthier for the past, today's the third day, and I'm already seeing a difference in that. I really want to help my body physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm going to hit all three of them little by little. I've tried doing them like a lot at one time. It was very overwhelming and I never succeed. So little by little. But for me, Wednesday was that moment where I was like, wow, I finally am moving on from my past. Your past does not have to define you. It doesn't have to rule your whole life. Your past was just a moment. Leave it in that moment. It was just a moment. And that moment does not dictate your whole life. You get to make a choice every single day. The choices, the changes you want to make, it's all on you. And that's why I want to try so hard to heal from all the pain, all of it. I'm tired of carrying it around, and I was tired of being a victim. I was tired of it already. I'm not a victim. And I'm working on my identity, the identity that God has provided for me. And I know it's going to take a lot of work, but I will say that my thoughts have been better. And anytime I feel myself slipping into an old thought, I didn't make myself feel bad for it. I just stopped it in its tracks. I said, no, don't go along with the imagination. Don't replay it. Surrender it. Just surrender it and move forward. And I said, and I'm not going to feel bad that it popped up in my head, because my mind is used to thinking like that and remembering that. I'm going to rejoice and be happy that it only popped in my head once or twice instead of all day. So I know there'll be hard days. I know there'll be good days. There'll be highs and lows. But I feel more better and confident. I wanted to share this one book too. It's called The Freedom Forward. I have a TikTok where I share all the books that I'm reading. And I also read some chapters. Sometimes I go live and I'll speak declarations or share about some of the books that I'm reading. This one made me tap into some emotions that I was afraid to speak out, that I never spoke out. It was some of the emotions that I buried. I don't know if reading this book and then having this moment on Wednesday where I said, okay, find the goodness, because this book made it all come up. It just, let me see if I could share something. It just brought up stuff. It just brought up stuff where I just didn't expect it to. And it made me admit to things, and it brought everything else up into the surface. It has some, it made me cry a lot. Like, I cried through a lot of this book. I don't want to read it really. Here's like a little bit. It's kind of like poetry. Some of it's like poetry and some of it's like really hard nuggets. It says, the world will clip your wings, then question why you no longer have the desire or ability to fly. The pain controlled my mind to the point my thoughts wouldn't stop racing, and controlled my tongue to the point where I said nothing. It's safe to say that much of my people pleasing stemmed from my inability to understand and stand on the truth of who I actually was. I used to pray memories would just fade, the anger would wash away, and I could go back to being the less aware, yet optimistic person I was before. You lost the volume in your voice. You lost the ability to identify and embrace who you truly are. And I'm not reading the whole pages because, just the highlighted parts, because if I get too deep, I will start crying. But it's just going to give you like just a taste of it. My depression increased when I began to see and accept life as it was versus as I expected or imagined. In life, we will all struggle, overcome obstacles, and live to experience times that leave us to question everything about ourselves, our lives, and the people we allowed in it. But how we react and what we make of our hills and valleys will have the influence to lead us into two vastly different directions: pain-stricken or purpose-driven. What we allow to prune and preserve us is what will reflect the most about our heart posture and character. So those were just kind of like, there's some motivating ones in there. There were some ones that just kind of like tap on your soul and say, hey, did you remember this hidden pain you had? Yeah, I'm right here. It has so many different stuff. I read 100 pages because they're not very long. They're kind of like I said, some of them are nuggets. Look at that. There's some pages where it's just one. You see that? Some of them are not full pages at all. So I was able to go through 100 pages like nothing. I'm almost done with it. I'm halfway there. I only read I think I gave it a day and a half because I was crying too much and it was making me a little bit too emotional. But it was good because it brought everything to the top. And then when I had that experience on Wednesday, I feel like I got rid of, if not all of it, most of it. I'm going to finish reading this book and see if anything else pops up. That's why I'm saying if not all of it, most of it. I really needed it, I know everybody has a story, and mine is rooted in a lot of fear. And I just started to see when fear was planted, because everybody always asked me, well, when did fear really enter your heart? And I don't know. But then I started to see it as I read this book, and as I've had more time, with God. It started at a very young age, seeing my mom overdose, and seeing her get beat by some of her, because she was a prostitute, by some of her clients. And she didn't even raise me, but that's just a little bit that I saw when I would go over and visit, spend a weekend with her. I never spent a full weekend with her because I was supposed to, but my grandmother taught me how to dial our phone number at a very young age, how to remember our phone number. And I would have my bags to spend the whole weekend with her, and I'd be gone. I think the most I stayed was one night, but I would call my grandma to come pick me up. I'd sneak the phone and call, and I'd say, please come get me. So I never stayed a whole full weekend, but I would stay like at least a day. But just in that moment, it was traumatizing. And and then the issues I had with my first husband, and all the cheating and lying, and I felt like he lived secret lives. He was one way with me, and then when he'd leave, he was a totally different person. He acted like he was single. And then just personal things that he did. So, there's that, and then all the sickness I've dealt with. So I was just focusing on all the pain out of it, looking at my mom. I should have just focused on how God provided a way out for me, and my grandmother adopting me, and she gave me a safe home, showed me that a single woman could do it, because she wasn't only raising me, she was raising cousins and my brothers. Every time my mom went to prison or something, like, my brothers came to live with us in this tiny 2-bedroom home, but she had all of us there. She was a single woman living off of her Social Security. So I'm thankful that God made a way for all of us through her. And that's what I need to be grateful for. You have to find the thankfulness and the gratefulness out of each situation. There's something there. Even when I've heard Joyce Meyer's testimony, how her dad raped her over 200 times, and how her dad would make her act like she wanted to be with him. Like, her mom would go to the store and he would tell her that you want to stay with me, because he wanted to screw her. And so she'd have to act like she wanted to stay with her dad, or he'd get really angry. And even when she told her mom what was going on, her mom didn't even help her. But somehow she finds the positive in it. She's like, but look what happened. Look what God did with me. I may not know what it's like to sit on a earthly father's lap without him wanting to make a pass at me, but I do have a heavenly Father who loves me so much. It's the perspective of how you look at your situation. It's not erasing your past or making it seem like it was nothing. You're not downgrading your pain. You're just elevating any goodness that you can. You're not diluting what you've gone through, but if it still has some type of hold on you that's keeping you from prospering in areas in your life, you're gonna have to go back and say, there's a reason you're still here. Everything you've been through, but you're still breathing, you're still alive. You survived it. How did you survive it? Something happened to where you didn't kill the person, or the person didn't kill you. God must have held you some way, and then you finally got out of it. Or you're probably going through it right now. And there's some way that you're protected in some way. Joyce Meyer said that she used to pray that her dad would die or something would happen because he raped her until I don't know what age. She just says it was over 200 times, but it went on for a long time. So she says she did have anger. Like, why did it have to go on that long? But she'd say, well, why am I going to get caught up in the why? I have a life I never dreamed that I could have, and my kids didn't grow up that way. So should I really focus on the, well, why? And like I said, it's not about diluting the pain. It's not about, oh yeah, it was nothing. No, it was something. It was something. But you know what's even better? You being here right now and breaking the chains and not repeating what was done to you to somebody else. It's horrible what people have done to us. You just got to make sure you don't do that to nobody else. Because hurt people hurt people. I don't know. I just feel like I had such a huge release. This journey is, it's not easy. It is not easy. And I'm at a slower pace than my friends because I'm not the only one on this reset journey. We all are on a journey, and I'm probably the slowest one. And I'm not going to hate myself for that. I'm just happy for the accomplishments I've made so far, because there were some things that I was able to ...2025 I was able to deal with some issues, and 2025 was good for me. It was good for me. And 2026 seems to have started so hard for a lot of my friends. There's been crazy stuff happening since New Year's Day into New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. And there's some people starting out this year horrible. My heart goes out to them. It's going to be a whole tough year. There's no way it's going to be easy. I've had friends who've lost children, whose kids were killed. And I have family member right now fighting for her life in the hospital. It's starting out rough for some people. I've had years like that where I started out the year, my brother died on New Year's Eve, and my health going crazy and going blind and bedridden that whole year. It was a tough year. And somehow I'm still here. I'm still here. And that's what I gotta focus on. And I always gotta remember how good God is. Gratitude, thankfulness is so needed. Reading the Bible has to be done. If you don't know where to start anywhere. Open it up. Just read it. I guarantee you, no matter what book you open it at, is way better than you just staring at it. Just grab it and open it. And while you're reading it, you'll be directed some way, somehow. Read it. Just read it. Start a book and make it a goal to finish a book in the Bible. You can start with the small ones. Read a chapter a day. Do the 2-2-2 rule. 2 minutes of reading, 2 minutes of praying. You could pray your gratitude. Just spend that time talking to God. 2 minutes of worship. Find a song. Play a song. Or you could spend 2 minutes writing in your journal about what God is doing for you. That's 6 minutes out of your morning. Don't reach for your phone. You don't have to grab it. Just give him 6 minutes. That's it. Start off there. and then you can build from it if you want. My friend started out with 5 minutes of reading the Bible. Another friend started a chapter a day. And it's gotten way more than that. And their spiritual life is on fire. It is on fire. I've seen God move in these people's lives like crazy. I've seen Him move in my life. And it all started when we were reading the Bible. Just reading the Bible. I want to say by the 3rd or 4th week, we started hearing from Him more. The more we draw to Him, the more we reached for Him, the more we searched for Him, the more it's like He meets you there. And you will feel Him. You'll start to hear Him. And if you feel like you're starting to get attacked, like I said, first thing with all of us was people started falling off from our circle. People just started removing themselves. We didn't even have to do anything, and then things were exposed in all of our situations. Things were exposed that we never knew. And I was like, wow. So it felt like, okay, relationships are changing. Your surroundings start to change. And I don't know. You could look at it as you think it's an attack, or just God cleaning up house. You asked Him to come in, you invited Him in, He's going to clean house. Oh, you want me to protect you? You want me to protect you from people trying to hurt you? Well, that might include some people who you really loved and had no idea that they actually didn't like you at all. You really want me to clean this house? You might be a little sad on what is going to end up having to leave. But anyways, I just wanted to share that I'm just happy that I was able to finally let so much pain go. And I'm working on my health so that I can slow these adrenal dumps down. And now I'm working on my mindset. Making sure I don't replay old things that kept me in bondage. Casting out all imaginations that exalt themselves above Christ. Repeating memories that make me forget my identity in Christ. Making sure I'm not watching crap that's gonna maybe open up some doors that I had trouble closing, because music and what I watch on TV will do that. They can bring the old Nikki back, and I don't want the old Nikki. That girl didn't do much for me. I want healing, so I'm watching what I'm watching on TV. I'm careful with what I'm listening to, which I've been doing really good. I've been listening to nothing but Christian music for a while now. And if anybody gossips about me, I've been shutting it down. I don't want to hear the gossip. I don't want to talk about people. I don't want to be around people who talk about people. Because even when I don't say nothing, I'm still listening to it. So I interrupt and I'm like, well, why don't we pray for that person? If you're going to talk about her that she's this and she's that, well, then let's pray for her. And some people don't like it. Some people will pray for them. But I will make it known that you're not going to talk bad about people in front of me, because we will start blessing them. So yeah, those are some changes that I have been working on. My mindset is going to be my main focus right now. What I'm allowing to replay, what imaginations I'm letting in. And I'm going to work on new imaginations, like seeing myself healed, not looking at myself like I'm just a sick person. I want to see myself healed, praising God in church with my twin granddaughters, being the grandma I've always wanted to be, and being a good wife. Just imagining myself without limits, not living in fear or anxiety. Just a person who loves God and is trying to make the best of her life. That's my new imagination. Not the past. Not the I wish I could have. I wish I would have. Why did they do this to me? Why did I have to go through that? Why? No. Not the victim anymore. I'm not a victim anymore. I'm the captain of my new journey. I'm tired of being a victim. It's exhausting carrying around all that pain. I just want to be free, and it's going to start in my head. Freedom starts in the head, because the mind is definitely the battlefield. As a man thinketh, so is he. So what am I thinking about? What am I rehearsing? What am I meditating on? That's it. Well, there's my little update. I hope I help somebody. If not, maybe you know somebody. And I hope you're on your own journey, and I hope it's going great. And if your 2026 started out rough, don't give up hope. Don't stop fighting for the life that you want. It is there. It can still happen. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Good night.